This is the third part of a trilogy of toy shop interviews in my home surroundings of Leamington Spa and Warwick. I've covered the past, the present, and this final instalment you could call a present and future combination, as it's with a local vintage toy shop owner, dealer and lover of the collectibles that he owns, long or short term. We chatted for an entire morning on all sorts of subjects relating to vintage toys, and I hope I've presented enough interesting chat for you to listen to.
My name's Chris Molbon, and I own Metropolis Vintage Toys in Warwick, and I sell a wide range of collectibles, mainly TV and science fiction, but with a heavy dose of tinplate, die cast, things that I like, things that I love is what I sell.
Okay. Sitting in your shop, it is ridiculous. It's more of like a museum.
Don't go down that road. I'd love to have a museum, but I've got a friend who's had 3 museums and none of them are paid, so the idea is far better than the reality. People shy away from paying £1, £2, £5 to go into a museum, as most museums will tell you, which is why most museums are still around for free. I do like surrounding myself with nice, high quality toys because it brightens my day, you know, absolutely. That's the thing. I can walk in here in a bit of a grump, I can turn the lights on, and I can cheer myself up just by looking at some beautiful toys.
If I sat in here all day, I wouldn't sell anything. I'd just close the door. I'd probably go bust and be arrested, and die of lack of nutrition. But I mean, just to give people, I'll obviously take some pictures and stuff and put them on our social media. But you can't look anywhere without seeing something. There's no like blank space or trying to be minimalist. It's proper wall to wall, floor to ceiling. Proper a toy shop that you remember as a kid. This is like old school toy shop.
Ah, thank you. That's because the shop is quite small, and which is why I've got another shop up the road. Not because I'm greedy, but it's just you suddenly find you need an overflow, and I got fed up using containers, which weren't the best place to store stuff. So another shop came up, and I thought, well, that'll do, and I'll use that for my mail order and a storeroom. And didn't work. I tried to have it as a model railway shop. Yeah, that didn't work very well either. So now it's an overflow for stuff that I like.
So to have an overflow shop, you're doing pretty well then, considering you're in Warwick, which is a real tourist trap.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the business rates aren't brilliant here, or are they pretty good?
No, they're okay. They're okay. Yeah, it's not as expensive as you might think. It's a beautiful place to have a shop, for absolutely sure. And being right on the main road between the railway and the castle. The castle is literally 200 yards away. It's great because I get a lot of passing traffic, which is why I sell stuff out the window that actually probably doesn't reflect what's inside it, but does help to pay my rent. So that's me being a little bit pragmatic.
It seems here it's mostly vintage stuff. You have a little bit like kind of modern, and I see you got some like cars under there, just for kids when they come in to scramble around with. But board games to action figures to trains to crikey, you even got signs.
Yeah, well, don't start me on signs, because advertising is a big favourite of mine, and a huge big plus of mine is advertising for toy shops and toys and stuff like that. So as you've seen in the other shop, that's where I keep all the signage. The bigger stuff. If you look around here, you can see a 1960s dinky Battle of Britain shop display, which is really beautiful. And then if you look around, I've got shelf talkers and general vinyl signs and anything I like the look of.
You're actually using your shelf talkers, aren't you, as well? They're everywhere. The kind of like the mid-range Star Wars ones. And you've also got one of those Empire Strikes Back signs hanging down as well. It's worth a fortune.
I've debated whether to grade that, and then you think, well, no, because it's doing what it's meant to do, which is great. Somebody once came in and said, "Oh, you've got some of those repro Star Wars shelf talkers." No, they're all real, thank you. It's like, why haven't you graded them? Because I like them. That's what they're there for. Once you grade a shelf talker, it's great. It's worth a lot more money.
Yeah.
But no, I like them doing what they do best. I've got Action Force One's Action Man. I've even got hidden away, look, not the best place, the Cindy ones, but quite a lot of Star Wars stuff. Which brings me to my biggest regret. The only thing I've sold recently that I really regret was the bin for the first Kenner 12 backs.
Okay.
It came into my shop. I paid what I thought was an awful lot of money for it, and then somebody offered me even more for it, and I thought, oh, well, I can't find anywhere. And my original intention, this is hubris for you, was to fill it.
Yeah.
With not the most expensive, but original 12 backs. And I thought that would be, because doing this for a living,
Yeah.
if you don't sometimes have little projects, that was a little project of mine. I thought I can do this, over a period of time, and it would look great. And then somebody offered me an unfeasible amount of money for it.
Come on, how much is unfeasible?
Well, it wasn't. It was. It offered me $3,500, and I took it. And then there's one on eBay that's graded for like $10,000. Oh, bugger. So, but it isn't the money. People think if you do this for a living, it's about the money. Yes, it's a lovely way to make a living, because I live, sleep, and breathe this stuff. But just one of those things. It was because it's quite big, and I thought I've got nowhere to put it, and that was before I had the other shop. Oh, I can't sell it. And I've since regretted selling it.
It'd be difficult to put it into a glass cabinet as well, wouldn't it? Because it's pretty big.
Well, I've got more glass cabinets in the others. I've got just a place for it.
Oh, okay.
And so that is a big regret. Especially when the guy I sold it to brought it back and said, do me a favour, take it to the graders for me. Thanks. Cheers. Great. Okay. So I did. So I have done, and I'm picking it up this week, and I'm looking forward to seeing it, sort of. But so I generally will not sell shop display stuff. So yes, you're absolutely right with that Empire Strikes Back hanging display. I could quite easily sell it, but then I like it.
It does look good. The only thing is, it's slightly marred by a 6.5, maybe even 7 foot tall Jar Jar Binks.
I've had him a long time.
He's huge.
He is. He's also suffered major damage because at one time in my last shop, which was in Burton-on-Trent, 2 ladies who seemed to have imbibed or sniffed something came in and broke both of his arms. And then laughed and then walked out of the shop. Like, what? Yeah.
That's a bit harsh. You don't like chase after them and whack them with the arms?
No, it wasn't the sort of place.
I mean, it looks almost. I reckon that's full size, isn't it?
He is. I think Star Wars or Pepsi. I think because they were done by Pepsi, and they ended up in Kentucky Frieds and places like that. I think they were intended to be full size. I've got a lot of affection for him. I've had him a long, long time.
He's just slightly in the way of all the beautiful Star Wars mods.
Yeah. There is the temptation to move him up the other shop, because I've got, as well as having a Dalek in the window of the shop, I've got a full-size 1960s Dalek ride in the other shop, and I could actually put him in there. But I'd miss him, I think. I'd really miss him.
Do you have conversations with him? Yeah.
No, not got that far. Only when I fall over him, and their conversations that they're more short, sharp, and rude.
So what is your background then? So I mean, I assume you've not done this forever. You were somewhere else before.
Feels like it. I joined the army at 16. I started to buy and sell toys when I was still in the army in my early 20s. Came out of the army. Decided I wanted to go into sales, and at 30, not many people want to take on an ex-soldier as a salesman. So an employment agency, Brook Street Industrial, took me on for a few years. Then I went on the road as a rep selling speech replacement equipment for people with disabilities, and also pushchairs, wheelchairs for primarily children with a wide range of disabilities. And I opened a shop whilst I was still doing that. Left that company, and I was 38 then, so that's 20 odd years now. And this is my 4th shop. I've had a couple in Birmingham, one in Burton, and the 2 I've got here. Because I'm so old. I've been around a bit, and I think I started doing toy fairs in America in the 90s, early 90s, And the first toy fair I did was in New York, on the USS Intrepid, which is a good place to have a toy fair.
Yeah.
And it was specifically a G.I. Joe fair. And there was a company, which I think are still around, called Cotswolds Collectibles. And a friend of mine who I used to travel around the States with had the bright idea of saying to them, "Oh, why don't you do some repro weapons for Star Wars?" Oh yeah, it's a good idea, because they've got the contacts in China, so they produced them. What they neglected to tell these very nice Chinese toy manufacturers what colour they were, and that's why you'll find an interesting rainbow of some very wacky colours for Star Wars weapons, because they all they did was bang in whatever colour plastic was surplus, you know. And so,
but in some ways, I mean, I'm not a repro person at all, but in some ways, if you have a placeholder, you might as well have a red blaster, right, and just stick it on there and go, right, I'm going to have that, because everyone knows that's not genuine. You can just, a red thing is not genuine. So I think anyone who wants placeholder weapons, I either say modern, because I mean, just stick it in there, or just a different weapon. You know, there's bloody millions of them out there. Some are cheaper than others, but I mean, in some ways, maybe that was a good place to start, having red weapons, and everyone would at least know that is not a genuine weapon. It's pretty obvious.
I think I can really, because I consider myself on the wrong side of being fanatical about my quality of my stock, I can understand immensely how frustrated, annoyed collectors get by fakes, by repros. What doesn't it? For me, it's more of, where does it need to be in your head? If you walk into my shop, you need the belief and the confidence in me that what I'm selling you is right.
Yeah.
If it isn't, don't get me wrong, if I've got something in a damaged box, if you come into my shop and say, right, I want that, I will tell you what the issues are. That might sound counterproductive. It isn't. It's a very good selling point. I believe passionately that if you know, I'd rather give somebody a choice. That's the best one. I'm going to charge you.
Yeah.
I was going to use the word gouge, but it's not the right one. But I am really going to go for it, because I will have paid a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
Generally, it don't walk in the door cheap. So, but I then say to you, look, if you, for personal reasons or financial or budget reasons, you want to go for a cheaper one, there's the option. The box isn't as good. There's no instructions. There's something wrong with it. I'll give you those options.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with what I do have a problem with is repro instructions, repro this, repro cards. It's crap.
See, my philosophy is, if you've got something reproduction, you don't have a Star Wars item. You just have. You might as well just put a turd on a shelf.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You're not collecting. I mean, if I can't afford something, I can't afford it. That's just the way it is. That's just life. I was brought up in the aspect of, we couldn't afford brand new stuff, so we got it second hand. I still played with it. I didn't go, well, I'm not touching that. Someone else has touched it. Didn't matter. I'd give the monkeys the little bits missing, as long as I had, like, when I was a kid, my Millennium Falcon was a second hand one we found in a shop in, I think it was Wootton Bassett or something. I can't remember where it was. Somewhere daft on holiday. We saw it in a second hand shop, and I had to wait for like 6 months to get it for my birthday. It was like, it was sitting there in Mum's cupboard. Yeah, well, you got to wait for that, because you would have it for Christmas or birthday or whatever.
Oh, if you'd have been my son, I'd have treated you better.
well, no, but I had the value then, and I played with that thing.
Yeah.
I have to say, only a few people have ever mentioned your shop. I mean, so how do people come in? Is it people walk through the door? Is it word of mouth? I mean, how does it happen? How do you actually get your stuff out there?
I don't know, that's a good question.
Or are you just known?
No, that's a kind of. I have a fairly decent website. I have a decent Facebook page, and I do a lot of toy fairs. I don't take the good stuff to toy fairs. If I've got an ethos, is I keep the better stuff in the shop, and I take the other stuff unless somebody asks me to. I take reasonable, marketable stuff to toy fairs, but certainly not the best stuff, unless somebody says, "Oh, I've seen this. Can you bring it along?" And then I will. A good friend of mine, Jim Stevenson, who some of your older listeners will know incredibly well.
Ooh, old. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Had the opposite. He used to take, and any of your listeners that can go back 10 or 15 years would know Jim, because he had the most fantastic setup at Sandown, at the NEC, sometimes at Doncaster, always at Donington, and he specialised in Star Wars and TV and film related toys, and his collection was staggering.
Was he a dealer, or was he like a shop owner or something? I mean,
No, he
what was
didn't
his
have a
thing?
shop. He never liked people well enough to have a shop. I couldn't be doing it that lad. But he was brilliant. He lived in Mansfield near Nottingham, and it started very simply, I think, for him. His son Andy, who's a brilliant lad, got into Star Wars, and Jim said, "Oh," and Jim worked in the car industry at the time. He said, "Oh, I'll get some Star Wars from him," and he liked them more than Andy did. And then he picked up on that, so he decided, as you do, to get into Star Wars, and he did it at the very, very early, very, very start. And because he had money and a lot of nous, he got it, and he made a lot of contacts with the likes of Tom Derby or Tom Derby in the States, and he made contacts all over the world, with the aid of what used to be called Toy Shop magazine, which is a brilliant piece of kit, and he built up a really fantastic collection. And then when Star Wars took a lull, he decided, well, I'm going to sell some of this, and he got into TV and film related stuff, and he always had the absolute, his tables looked like my shop. He didn't touch anything else but TV and film. Because I have a more Catholic approach, if it's nice, if it's mint, I like it, I'll buy it, and I attempt to sell it, but I don't mind living with it. He had a different view, but that's where our philosophies were totally different, but very akin to each other. But he always had the best stuff.
It seems like you've got some of his stuff. Did he sell you bunches of stuff, or?
No, unfortunately, and this is common knowledge, Jim got dementia in his mid to late 60s, as well as getting prostate cancer, which was a bit of a double whammy. Initially went downhill quite slowly, and then it became rampant. And it's incredibly sad, because if he was still around now, he's still alive, but unfortunately, age 72, is in a home near Newark, and doesn't do much apart from sleep, which is beyond sad.
Especially someone who seems so active as well.
He was an incredible bloke. He was very erudite, incredibly knowledgeable. Certainly nobody's fool, and certainly did not suffer fools gladly. Woe betide you if all you ever wanted to do was pick his brains. But he knew everybody that's everybody. A friend of mine, Craig Spivey, came up with the idea ages ago, of having a website do for him, because I've got all of his archive photographs, which includes some immeasurably beautiful, and by the by, expensive things. One of the things he had was a rocket firing Boba Fett with a letter of authenticity, actually with the letter sent by Palatoy to a young boy. He had the 3 12-inch Empire Strikes Back prototype dolls, including the Leia. He had a TIE Fighter pilot helmet, the original one, that was stolen when his house got broken into one weekend. His main rule when it came to TV and film stuff, he said, "Listen, lad, stick to figures, guns, and ships. The rest of it," I wasn't going to say shit, but You get the idea, can't you? It's just like, if you're going to deal in the top pieces.
Yeah.
Don't go in for the board games and twaddly stuff. Well, not twaddly stuff, but, go for the main kit. He completely ignored his own rules when it came to Star Wars. What his working stock in his collection went one of two ways, or three ways. One horrible piece of humanity went to his house when he was ill, and bought some stuff and said, I'll pay you in a minute, put it in a box. Had a conversation with him for about half an hour, by which time Jim had forgotten about it, and then put the stuff in his car. Took about £5,000 worth of die-cast, which is deplorable.
Yes.
The guy should hang his head in shame. I don't wish ill on anybody, but him, there is a special place in hell for people like him. And at that point, Andy, his son, said, you know what, no more. So a select few dealers, not including me, bought some of his Star Wars stuff, and then I bought a lot of what was left from his son, and for the right money. In terms of, I looked after Andy. I think that was the right thing to do, because people, when it comes to money, people can be really horrible. But one of the things I was really pleased to do was all the odds and ends. There's lots of paperwork and bits and pieces and odd Japanese bits, and which were nice, but I couldn't. It's really difficult to find a home for. I sold in one lot to a local collector who still has most of it, I think, which was nice to see it go. But what I have kept, like I say, is all his photos, and as I've just shown you, which is living under your microphone, is a Star Wars book dedicated to Jim from Stephen Sansweet. So the first copy of Steve Sansweet's book, and the one we're talking about, because you can't see it, is the black and gold one. And that's got a dedication in the early 90s to Jim, and I treasure that. The other thing I've got, which I will never sell, is the first Star Wars British quad, which lived over Jim's mantelpiece for years and years. And I was really pleased to own that. I've had it reframed. It now lives in my dining room, and I don't care how much it's worth or whatever. This one most, because I do this for a living, there are many things that I will sell. That's one thing I'll never sell. It's strange, I know. It's as a very quick aside, there are two other dealers I've known that have died over the last few years, both good friends, and I've kept pieces that they've sold me in the last month, and again, I won't part with those. If you look on my website, you would find them. I haven't put Jim's picture on because I'm not sure how to word it, because he's still here. But I do treasure it. So what I'm saying to you is, the real tragedy of that illness is that a whole generation haven't had the pleasure. The pleasure of knowing him. I don't know how. That's the other side of it. I don't know how he would have coped with people calling cards mocks. I don't. There's somebody out there. Yeah, you call them mocks.
We call them mocks all the time. It annoys lots of Americans.
I don't. But there is somebody here on this planet that suddenly said, "I'm not going to call it Metropolis. I'm going to call it mocks," and he knows who he is. And now somebody will claim it was me, but
Yeah, we've heard a few names and stuff, and people said that they call it. I mean, I just like using it because it annoys Americans. American friends go, "You can't call them mocks." I said, well, we just do. We can't all the same mint on cards.
I don't know. Yeah, well, I suppose. But yeah, so back to Jim. What he would make of grading, I don't know all that. That sounds like bloody Yorkshire, not bloody Nottingham. And now I'm in a quandary because I've got all these pictures, these beautiful pictures, and he took a picture of everything he owned, and he had some beautiful 3-packs. Most of his stuff was sealed. It was just incredible in a small 3-bed semi.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, when I moved house, when I moved house to when my second wife died, I had a little bit of money and I moved to quite a nice house. I only bought it because it had 4 garages, and I collected cars as well as toys, and it's like shit. I saw that. You know, he came around the house. He said, lad, I don't know why you bought this. I said, because I like it, Jim. And this house is 300 yards. I don't live there anymore, by the way, because I'm too poor to. So I kept that. Anyway, he said, lad, you should have got yourself a little house like mine. I said, I've had a little house like yours. I said, you know. He said, but no, I was born here and I'll die here. And unfortunately, he wasn't right, but he lived in one house all of his life, and you could see, you know, his financial, his ethics were brilliant. As you can guess, I think the world of him. But it is just so galling that this guy and his passion, you know, was immense, and his knowledge about Star Wars.
In terms of like Star Wars, I mean, you said you didn't always grade. You just bought stuff and sold it on. How much has grading affected your business in a positive way?
I don't think there's much of a downside to it, to be honest. I think it's made an enormous impact. The obvious one is financially, but the main one is the integrity of what I sell, and buy, for that matter.
Yeah.
To sell high quality toys, you've got to have a reasonable reputation, because you're selling your reputation as well as what you have in front of you, which is why my view is, if you have a shop with only 1 or 2 good quality bits, you think, okay, he's been lucky, he's found that. I work really, really hard and pay a lot of money for the stock that I've got. People think, oh, he's got loads of stuff, I bet he's bought it for nothing. No, far from the truth. You have to. It's not top end toys. It's not for the faint-hearted and short of pocket. It really isn't, because you've got to love this stuff as well. This isn't just a job for me. I absolutely love what I do, and I get a lot of pleasure. Most of the pleasure, actually, is finding this stuff, finding something really, really nice, and saying, there you go. And then and putting it out for sale, and then somebody will offer you half price, and then you're quite rude. But yeah, getting back to grading's made a huge impact for me. And I came into it quite late, about 3 or 4 years ago. And I know Steve Ward, who runs UK Graders, and I've known him since he started. He's been doing it for 10, 11, 12 years. I know it's at least 10. I wouldn't say it didn't occur to me. It's quite a process getting stuff graded, because it's not just, oh, look, I'll get that graded. You've got to actually take it up there, pay for it, wait for it, get it back, and that's quite an investment when you've got a lot to grade. So,
but it sounds like you've got a good relationship with the graders as well. I mean, that must be really important, because also we're seeing other grading companies that suddenly appear. But we saw some stuff that was graded, and you're thinking, how on earth did they get to that? You know, a figure with like half its face missing, it's been given like an 80 or something. Just I can't remember exactly what it was, but given ridiculous grades, and you're thinking, okay, how much of this is just incompetence? How much of it is favours? You know, what is it just people missing stuff? What is it? So I'm assuming you have this good relationship with the grader that is so vital to your business, really.
I do, but I don't think he does me any. I know he will not, and I wouldn't expect it. He does not do me any favours, because I go out there once a month or once every 2 months with a van full of stuff. He has to be, and I respect him a great deal for his objectivity. It's sad to see how many people send stuff to him in the hope that he will grade crap, or grade something that's got a repro weapon. And it's like, I think, so look. And it is, to know Steve is a privilege, and to know his lads like Matt. What's up?
No, I was just looking to see, because I thought, just my head appeared. It looks like it's mostly like action figures and stuff that are great. You've graded, but not things like the trains. I mean, you've got
No.
an absolutely outstanding cars and trains and stuff, but none of it appears to be graded, like the tin toys and stuff. Nothing's
There's
in
a
a
reason
in a.
for that. Absolute reason for that.
Go on.
I've experimented with grading different things, and some bomb. Star Wars is one thing you got to grade, for sure.
Is that a generational thing, you think? 'Cause I mean, I saw some of your customers, old fellas, just like us, when they get old, just still collecting, still going on. I'm sure we'll all be the same. You'll have me in here when I'm 80 something, going crikey. Oh, look at a Star Wars figure. It looks like it's a generational thing. It looks like it's the collectibles that people want in pristine condition. But the guys who collect train stuff, they still want to feel it and touch it.
Absolutely. As really, you should want to touch and feel Star Wars stuff.
Oh yeah.
But because of the potential for lack of integrity for some weapons and stuff like that, I think it's much safer for the market, especially loose, is to grade them. Yeah, they do look nice when they're on a stand, but I actually think once they're graded loose, they look brilliant. They really do. They bring out the best of them. Plus, for the collector that wants to go that little bit further, you can spot variations that way, because if you send your stuff to Steve or to AFA to get graded, when it comes back, there may well be a bit more knowledge or information on there that'll give you more knowledge, like different hair colours and bits and pieces. Oh, that's interesting. So I think it's a good thing. But coming back, what to grade? It's very simple. Figures for definite, loose and carded. And I would extend that beyond the barriers of Star Wars into things like Dino Riders, Thundercats, Ghostbusters, because then you elevate it. I recently graded a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and it came back as a 90. Wow. And it's a wow because suddenly I've got the only 90 grade Stay Puft Marshmallow Man that exists. Thank you. So I sold it to a friend of mine in Japan, which is where it is now. In fact, it left yesterday. But that, and it isn't the fact I'll get a lot more money for it. It's the fact, if you step away from the main reason most people have graded, is for the integrity of it. It also adds that little bit of something indefinable, which is like, you go for 90s, and it takes it away from the subjective, well, I think it's mint, and well, I think it's a repo.
Yeah.
You haven't got that argument then, and then you can focus on, I only want 90s, and they're much easier to store, to look after. It prevents them being damaged in any way. I mean, I can remember my partner help opening one of my boxes when I first met her and pulling the outside flap off, and she said, "Have I done any damage?" "No, sweetie, of course you haven't." "No. I haven't, have I?" No. £200 worth of damage later. But yeah, so it's a good. I think it's a good thing. I cannot see any reason not to. I did, as an aside, talking to a Japanese friend of mine. It's quite common for them to buy graded stuff, get it there, and break it open. Why? It's simple, because it's just a method, a non-subjective, well, it's still subjective to an extent, method of me saying to this nice guy in Japan, it's never been opened.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, it can be a transitory thing as well as a permanent thing. But things that I wouldn't grade, no, what's the point in grading railway, die-cast, stuff like that? I've tried odds and ends, but in real terms, vehicles, yeah, I've graded some boxed Star Wars vehicles. I've actually, the best graded piece I've got is a French-Canadian bilingual Empire Strikes Back Kenner Droid Factory. Yeah, the box isn't perfect, but it's original, and that guarantees that the integrity, that it has the right instructions and everything else.
That's
it's
fine.
Trust, isn't it? It's the ability to say, I don't want to have my left leg lifted by a toy Tony, for example.
Let's not start that one. We've covered that so many thousands of times.
Yeah, but nobody's actually said. Has anybody ever talked about the guy himself?
Well, yes and no.
Has anybody actually met him? Because I have.
No.
I'm old enough to be age comparable with Tony.
Okay.
And although we've never been friends in the sense that the toy industry for us is too competitive to have, really close friends in that sense. But I can always remember going up against him at Sandown, and he had always had the knack of getting there just before me. I can remember going to somebody's car boot, and I could see this Dalek shooting game, and I know the people that were selling it, and they were a lovely couple, and I see the price, £450, and my hands are going towards it, and then suddenly there's Tony. It's mine. I'm not going to say what I said, but it was just like he was an exceptionally good dealer. I suppose he's still, and he was he was the best robot dealer in the country. Dealer, as in not collector, and he did collect as well.
I think that the thing that, because I mean, if he had just, all that stuff he had, all the stuff he produced, when he put the car back together, if he just sold those separately, I think he'd have made not just as much money, but he would have made a lot of money out of, because people will still buy pristine car backs, and the ones he had would have been pristine, and they'd have been absolutely just printed kind of thing. And the fact that nothing was repro is the sad part about it, because Bubbles, obviously he was buying the figures in, and as mint as he possibly could, but just having those two elements, you just would have made a shitload of money, because to find something like that, I mean, people sell proof cards, for example, for ridiculous amounts of cash. Those things would have been almost a market on their own as such.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
But Toy Tony figures, I mean, they are becoming. People will spend money on them. They're not going for like 10 quid. For the ones he did, people will still spend money on them as long as they're identified. I mean, that's what we always said. A grading company really needs to kind of make sure that it says Toy Tony on it, and then at least people know, because they do look good. They look like they're brand new figures, and they're all genuine parts. It's not like someone's made a bubble or something. It's just manufacturing process.
I think. I mean, I'm neutral in this, in the sense of it happened. You can't go back. Would he have changed? Would he have done something? I suspect, yeah. But then Star Wars wasn't worth that much. You need to factor in that when this all happened, they weren't worth a lot of money, and you also need to factor in the fact that I think it cost him 10,000 at the time, which was a stupid amount of money.
Imagine having that now, though. Just suddenly finding that now and just having that in front of you and going, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah.
Bubbles, cards. That would have been a crazy find.
So how do I get my stuff sold? People find me on the internet. I was very fortunate enough to know Jordan Hembrough, the toy hunter. Why are you laughing? He's a good lad. It's completely different off screen. Really nice. I rate him really highly as a dealer because he's not two-dimensional. He is a good quality, old school, very capable dealer. You don't see that. A lot of people aspire to be in, and they come up with fantastic logos, websites. Doesn't matter a bit. What matters is your stock. That speaks for you. Jordan came to the shop and he did a Toy Hunter episode.
I used to watch his show, and it was always funny, but it was just completely out of the blue. Just like, oh, he's in Warwick. What the hell? One thing, I didn't even know this shop existed.
Yeah.
Because I've been away and then for years and years down land and then came back. So I didn't know there was any toy shops left. I didn't think there was anything like this ever. But then he said, in your shop. I mean, how did he approach you?
Bizarrely, this is yet another tick in the plus column for Rob Berman from the Gazette. I think he got in touch with the Gazette, or the TV channel did, and it went from there. And so that's helped.
Well, the reason I laugh is because it was his lack of knowledge of saying the word Warwick.
Warwick, yeah.
He was outside, I'm doing that little bit going Warwick, and I was like, oh, I can't believe you didn't punch him. It was the kind of way he got portrayed as well, because it seemed like you were a little bit, it looked like from what he said you were a bit batty, because he's going, oh, look at this stuff, and he's not out in the shop.
Yeah.
I mean, was that a genuine thing, or did you go, what?
No, of course, it was all.
Did he set you up on that?
Everything like that. I've done. What have I done? Put your money where your mouth is. Make me an antique dealer, a toy hunter. Everything's not scripted, but before it starts off, it's agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought a piece for a TV program 10 years ago, and it was decided months before what the piece was, how much it was going to sell for, and when they were going to do it. I don't believe people actually think this is unscripted.
So he was out the back of your shop, rummaging around for stuff, because obviously we knew that he was going to find something, give you a price on it, and go flog it somewhere later on.
Something I haven't come how many thousand miles to find a chair, broken armchair. What are you looking at there,
You see, I love that bit more than anything else, because it's just like, oh, you got a back room with stuff in it. And I've been in your back room with stuff in it. And those sort of places I love rummaging around in, because it's just like, oh my goodness, this should be out there. But
yeah, but precisely. So he's actually created in your, if you think about it, it's quite clever. He's created in your mind, or the show has, that's where to look.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it did in the other shop down, I think it was in Reading, Jim's shop. It's a really good hook, because if you just walked in here and ordered, that's a bargain, I'll have that. It isn't so much fun.
No, exactly.
Because when the producer came with him, she was lovely. She said, we're not going to do... I'd spent 2 weeks making this shop look... I'd cleaned everything out. It was me. So what they say, I don't want to go in here. Go to the back. It's like, what? No! He said, can you close the shop? Well, okay, lock the door. Right, okay. And then they go out the back, and the back was tidy, but it wasn't organised. So.
Yeah.
But as a concept, yes, it worked brilliantly.
Did he actually get the price he paid for it, or did you genuinely haggle with the price?
There was a little bit of haggling off screen beforehand.
Yeah.
But no, there was did he buy the piece? Yes. Did he pay real money? Yes, he did. He paid my pal in the money that night, and it was a few bob as well. We're a TV crew, right? We'll buy a few £1,000s worth of stuff, and we'll PayPal you later. And you think, do you know? I thought afterwards, it's like, hang on, have I just been at it? Everybody has.
I've got a camera here. I can just I'll have that 7 foot Jar Jar Binks and a few mocks, and I'll be off. You said you're old, so have you seen something like Star Wars, which has come, it has appeared, it's gone nuts, and then collapsed?
No, nothing.
Nothing at all.
There is nothing. And again, I haven't done this for 40 years. There's nothing that equals, rates, comes close to Star Wars in any of its forms. I can only speak from the collectible side. If you look at the effect it's had on society, how many people on their census forms registered their religion, right, as Jedi? We're crying out loud. So no, there's nothing.
I think I mentioned earlier about seeing the old boys in here with their toy trains. That stuff still sells at auction. You see it at Vector's. You then have a wholesale of just cars. I mean, you don't often see them have a wholesale of just Star Wars. They put it into a larger auction of science fiction collectibles, but just dinky toys. So there must still be a huge market out there, and that's been going for donkey's years.
It is, but it's not what it was. I know a lot of people that do this or have done this for a living. When Star Wars was its a real peak maybe 2 years ago, people said, I'm going to give up my job, I'm going to be a dealer. Don't ever do this for a living unless you've got an awful lot of money behind you and an awful lot of knowledge, because, not saying not mine's superb, but what I am saying is, as you just alluded to, things do come. I mean, Star Wars had a real bad patch 5-10 years ago. If you could go back 10 years and the amount of stuff that you could have bought, 10 grand would have bought you a rocket firing Boba Fett. Now you'd have to sell your house for one. This stuff comes in waves. I do reasonably well with railway. I do okay with diecast. I sell the odd robot now and again. I sell a reasonable amount of Star Wars. Yeah, just across the board is what makes my living.
Yeah.
It's not one thing. So in terms of, I like tinplate stuff. I know I love tinplate stuff. I can buy and sell that as I feel.
There is a universal appeal to that as well. It's got the fact that it was crafted beautifully.
Well, Well, look, I mean,
it's just when you just look at it, it just stands out.
On the shelf that we're looking at there, on the second shelf up, you will see a yellow and red car, which is a Gilbert Stutz Bearcat, and it's called a Gill Motor, and it was made in 1915. I bought that in late last August as part of a set of 4 that I bought off a guy, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's as good as the day it's made. It's 104 years old.
That's crazy. Think about it.
And it's really beautiful. I enjoy looking at it. I enjoy owning it. Don't particularly want to sell it at the moment, especially as it comes as a set. So I love tin plate toys, and
I'll say, look around your shop. I mean, Star Wars. There's a big old cabinet over. Well, not big old cabinet, but a nice cabinet of stuff, all sorts. You've got some mocks. It's mostly, what do you want to say? 75% kind of TV, space movie, that kind of stuff, and then the rest is trains and cars and vehicles and stuff. I mean, there's a real. It goes from from 1920s to
earlier. The nicest thing, or the earliest thing, is I've got a turn of the century Minerva Lions confectionery van, which is the only comparable thing to that ESB Boba Fett in a cabinet, and they're poles apart in many, but financially they're about the same sort of money.
It's crazy.
I've got 1920s toys in there that are half the price of the Fett. I don't know. Again, this comes back to me why I feel happy and comfortable investing in grading something.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel the market is stable enough for me to just say, well, come to my shop and I'll show you a range of mint on card. Notice I said mint on card figures.
Never heard the phrase before.
To have a look at, and then it's like, well, I had a guy this week question 1953 Duchess of Athol paint job, and it's like, no, I know I'm right because I know where I bought it, I know where it came from, and it's right. And I've done Hornby Double for 40 odd years, and the guy's like, I think it is, and I said, well, I don't think it is, so we'll agree to differ. That would not happen with Star Wars.
Yeah.
And unless you went to something far more basic, like questioning AFA's grading. And I think, controversial, but I think AFA grading can be slightly more variable than UKG, because UKG is effectively one guy, whereas I think AFA's had its ups and downs in terms of staff and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't find any great difference between AFA and UKG. I'm not big on trust, to be fair. I don't trust people in general. Everything's behind glass.
Yeah. It makes it look good, though, I've got to say.
It does, yeah.
Because if you didn't have any glass, people would move it. Even if they didn't steal it, they'd just move it around.
No, the kids would actually play with it. No,
yeah, well, exactly.
I mean, this place gets, in the summer, oh, it is the summer, can get really busy.
Yeah. But you must have a knack, though, for seeing people. I deal on eBay, just eBay, right? Computer parts, and I know when someone's trying it on. I just know from what they've written. There's an instinct you have. You just know full well the way they approach it, the way that their first words to you. If they phone you up, it's easier. But just writing a sentence, you can just know you're trying it on, mate. You know, my item hasn't arrived. You know, those sort of things.
Yeah.
Really. And you know when something's genuine. So actually, look, mate, this hasn't arrived on desert front, and you actually know that something's happened. But because if you don't send stuff tracked to people, you just know someone's going to try it on. You are going over like a £3 item. I know you're trying this on. I just know it. So you must have the same kind of instinct with people. You know they're going to try and bullshit you.
Yeah, happens more than you'd believe. But that's another reason for having the shop. I've got digital CCTV in both shops. It's remote. I've caught people stealing.
Really?
Yeah, I caught a guy who got 32 weeks in jail.
Good.
But which is sad, but it's how people are.
Well, it's got to be done because if you don't have a deterrent, there's no point, is there?
No.
You see, I love reference manuals, right?
Yeah.
Star Wars, bloody hundreds of them.
Yeah.
They keep coming out every 5 minutes, and they're always ridiculously overpriced. But there we go. But I guess short runs they will. So you have a pretty impressive collection of reference manuals.
No, this is half of them.
It's half of them. Oh my goodness. Have you ever thought of writing one? You must have a very good knowledge of just in general. I mean, you could probably talk about anything, couldn't you? See, my reason for asking this is I see stuff and I'm thinking, right, where did it go? It was the Trumpton thing. You saw it?
Top shelf.
Oh yeah. You see, I didn't know that existed. If I'd seen that as a kid, I'd kill for it.
Yeah.
You see, there must be stuff in here you have that is not in a book. There must be. Just stuff this is one-offs. This is not, no one's put this in a book because it wasn't part of a series of things. And that's what I mean by, you almost have. This is the wrong word to use, but I'm going to use it. You almost have a duty to the world to kind of say, the stuff here that needs to be put down in print, the Stevenson picture you've got, they can't have those in a box. They've got to be put somewhere because, like I said, a fire or just decay in general, photographs fade and decay. You don't want to lose this kind of knowledge because the stuff here, you can, really? They made that? I don't believe they made that. I've said you've got some wonderful reference books, but maybe you can have the Metropolis Toys reference picture book.
Right. I don't know.
Has it ever crossed your mind?
Yes, it has. I know people have written books, and some people you think, and you read the book and you think, what a load of rubbish. I know that's not true.
Maybe it just needs to be pictures, just not write anything.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, I know a friend of mine who's written 3 books. A trilogy on one particular subject, Alan Hall on Action Man, and he has his detractors because you write the book and someone says, oh, what about that bit and that bit. Action Man is something I do know a reasonable about because I used to collect it, and when it wasn't expensive I was at the level that Jim was. Because you could be 20 odd years ago. I don't think you could now. There's always something you don't. It's like an auctioneer once said to me. He said, I dread publishing our catalogue. Why? He said, you would not. I mean, he's brilliant. He's very bright. He's a really knowledgeable graduate. He knows his subject in depth. And then somebody will take great delight in emailing the auction house, not him, and picking holes in the catalogue. And he said, I said I'm like a human coconut shy. Why do I do this? I do this for a living. And he said, at the auction, and somebody will snidely drop in a comment. Well, it would have been better if you said that was Lineal rather than Hauser, because that's what it was. Okay, fair enough.
I think in those circumstances, sometimes you just have to let them say it because I know people through football and stuff. It doesn't matter what you do, what you say, how hard you research, you're going to get it wrong because someone will point it out to you, right? And they live for it. And in some ways, I kind of like that. Someone actually cares that much to challenge, bring you up on it, and you go, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, and I don't mind saying when I genuinely, if somebody can show that I'm wrong, I'll put my hand up and say. But I'm fairly, having said that, I'm very thick-skinned anyway. I don't worry too much about what people say. I don't know. To answer your question, it's flitted across what passes for my consciousness now and again, but in general, I don't think I'm bright enough. I don't think I know enough. I do know. What do I know? That I love owning toys. I like selling toys. I love buying them. I love owning them.
I think you could just take pictures all day in your shop, and you've just got crazy things. Who does all your dust anyway?
That's a good question. My partner once said to me, when I first met her, I'll start dusting his shop, but not ever, ever do you touch my shop with a duster. Thank you.
It must like the Golden Gate Bridge. Right? As soon as they finish painting it, they got to go back and paint it again because it's time to repaint. It's a never-ending job.
An incredibly talented guy who now works for a role-playing company was Rob Berman, who was the editor of the Collectors Gazette, and without any argument he was the best editor they've ever had. He was very proactive, got out, he did stuff, and he made a difference. He brought the circulation up. He was the guy that had podcasts. He started, I believe, the Collectors Club of Great Britain, or at least he enhanced it a great deal, and he would go out and do articles on shops, on toy fairs, and stuff like exactly what you would expect an editor of a Gazette to do.
Yeah.
Which, bizarrely, the editor of the current Gazette doesn't do. Which is why I don't advertise. And which is why a lot of people don't advertise with paper media anymore, because if you're going to have it, you've got to get out there and work for it. I had a phone call from him. Guess where I've been? I haven't a clue. Where you been? He said, he was really excited, really well. And if you knew him, he's such a smashing lad. He said, I've just been to this huge toy shop, and I mean huge. He said 22 rooms full of toys, and Vectis have just been there, and they've cleared it. He said they did leave quite a lot of stuff, really. I thought this could be good. So he said, I said, where is it? He said, it's in Holywell. Never heard of it, really. It's called Beaches. And he said, they've really, really left loads of stuff. You know, each room's got something. I said, why did they do that? He said, because it's absolutely manky, filthy, dirty, and there's no light. There's holes in the floor, and the whole place, you know, it should be condemned. It has been difficult for them to get stuff out, and I suppose there's a point of no return when, you know, from a huge company like Vectis' point of view, you're chasing diminishing returns for what you can pick up. And they must have, seeing the size of the place and seeing the photos before they started to empty it, huge rooms full, and I mean absolutely crammed, piece on top of piece.
How big was it? Because I mean, we always assume it's just a little tiny toy shop, but
Trust me, it wasn't.
I mean, what's this? Like almost like a warehouse almost.
There were 22 rooms, and it was actually 2 shops. And originally, it had been a haberdasher's and a milliner's up to the, and I've still got the odd bit of paperwork kicking around somewhere from when, in the 40s was when it was one of those. And I do believe Old Man Beach took 2 shops over and then joined them together, or they were joined together at the same time, because it really was all a bit helter-skelter. There was only one way in from one shop to the other, and unfortunately that was stairs that had decided to collapse. So in lieu of stairs, there were 2 scaffolding planks, which was interesting when there's no light. And if you missed your footing, you were going down. There are so many stories about Beaches. So when all the toy reps came, they would sell her stuff, and she would hide it or put it in one of the rooms, and then just put 1 or 2 in the shop. The shop was really, if you asked me how big the main shop was, 650 square feet, same size if you imagine a normal newsagent shop.
Yeah.
That sort of size. So you walked in, cabinets to your left, 6-foot normal waterfall cabinets to your left, the same to your right, shelves either side, and the stuff was absolutely, it wasn't well displayed, it was absolutely jammed sideways. Anything she could get in, so she got the idea of having 1 or 2, and if you look on the internet you'll see some of the early photos of when it was actually still a working shop. But yeah, when I picked it up, it was after Vectis had really gutted it, and they took loads and loads of stuff. And when I first saw it, to be honest, run-of-the-mill stuff, you know, and you think, yeah, I can see why they've left this. It took me a few days to actually get around to quoting to buy what was left. So I quoted, and I fortunately got the job. And then it started, and then it was a bit like mining for gold. The amount of, like I say, it wasn't obvious, because if it was obvious it'd have been gone.
Yeah, yeah.
In one of the upstairs rooms, which was absolutely huge, there were black bin liners absolutely full of soft toys. All kinds of soft toys, you know, Mr. Men. I have never seen so many original mint box Mr. Men soft toys. I didn't realise they even did so many.
No idea.
But when you're confronted with a wall of 6 foot of them, it's overwhelming. Digging through this, and I'm going through this, and I'm just not happy bunny. I'm just throwing this stuff all over the place. And suddenly, right in front of me, is a case, a trade box. I opened it, and there was 6 Burbank Hulks. Absolutely pure, pristine. And because the box is white, they go off colour very quickly. I've never seen ever since anything so pristine. And there were 6 of them. And I thought, oh, this is good. I'm really impressed. This is before I graded stuff, which is a real bucket, because they were all gradable. It's like, oh, that paid for the lot.
Yeah.
And that was a ka-ching moment. Do you know, there are times when I think if Vectis or somebody had done it completely different, because so much history was lost, so much damage was done.
Yeah.
It should have been like mining properly, you know, like it's like the Sherlock Holmes system of filing. You know, you judge it by the level of dust on it. You know, but the earlier stuff was hidden, and then newer stuff was piled on it and piled on it and piled on it, and then the water and the damp got into some of it. The dust got into all of it. But if somebody with a different eye had looked at it,
yeah,
it would have been more interesting. But to be honest, it would have taken months, if not years, because it just to do one room would have taken a month, and there were 22 rooms.
So did you get a chance to bid for the whole lot?
No.
Would you have done?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially knowing how little it originally sold for. It sold for an absolute pittance.
Yeah.
Again, I'm saying this is hearsay. Have I seen this in paper? No. But having spoken to the solicitor who handled it, yeah, I've a very good idea of what was paid. I know an auction house that will not be named got there first, and they turned it down.
That's crazy. I mean, I saw those pallets at Vectis, and it was like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, just pallets and pallets, and I walked around them and just like, oh my god, how. I mean, I think it took me a year to sell it all. It was just ridiculous how much stuff was there. I've never seen like it. You probably never will.
No, and that's the point. I doubt that you ever will. And there's going to be absolutely no record of it because, like you say, I think originally Vectis had individual Frank Beach sales, which produced the effect of people wanted it because they thought it was pure shop stock.
Yeah.
It was in a sense, but because it had been damp, it was all stuck together. People paid far too much for a lot of average stuff. Case fresh is case fresh, but then you open it and you find mould and all. Some of it was like not good. I remember selling some stuff to a friend of mine who's got a shop that came from Beaches, and he said, "No, I don't want any more. It's all crap inside."
I want to thank Chris for being a great host, paying for my car parking, and enjoying a good old chat. If you want to pay Chris Molbon and his toy shops a visit, they are located on Smith Street in Warwick. It's worth dropping in if visiting Warwick Castle. He's not open every day, so if you are planning a visit, I recommend making contact beforehand. And you can find his website at metropolistoys.co.uk.